Man can get a lot of things done when his back and arms are made of stone. Let's do it. Welcome to Stone Circle Strongman. Another day of lifting stones, getting stronger, improving oneself. Today's primarily a back day and also some arm involvement and posterior chain work. That's the great thing about lifting stones, is that a lot of your body's hit just picking up a stone. You're going to move and involve a lot of different muscles. This first exercise, I'm just doing warm-up deadlifts and just to prepare for the heavier lifts to come, which is what I got going on here. That's the bigger stone that I train twice a week with. And if you do these properly, your lower back, your hamstrings, they're going to be strong and prepared for about anything that comes your way. Don't need many reps. Definitely stop short with at least one or two, at least a couple in the tank, or else you run the risk of injury. So it's better to stop and play it safe. What else do I got going on here? I think, this is a deadlift hold, which that's where the arm involvement comes in. I mean, you're still working your hamstrings, your glutes, your upper back, but you can see your forearms getting a serious workout just by holding the stone. And really, that's what fails in this exercise eventually, is that your grip just gives out. And I find this to be one of the most effective exercises for strengthening your grip for stone lifting. And that's a very huge part of the sport. If you don't have strong grip, you can't do a whole lot. Doing some shrugs here, not terribly heavy weight, but again, you can see the grip is highly involved. You got to cup that stone the entire time, and hopefully you can do some shrugs, activating more of the back of your shoulders and your traps. But it's a pretty good exercise to do with a stone. I've always found that very effective at building the traps. Another variation I do, I have a chain on the walking stones, and you can just grab the one ring and also hit the traps pretty hard that way. Great exercise. Definitely effective for your entire back and shoulder area. I always feel just nice and worked over after a good set of shrugs. I don't know what else I got going on here. Let's see. I got this. Just do grip exercises. Grab some stones, hopefully that are really challenging for the length of your fingers. Hold on to them as long as you can. Walk around, go over difficult terrain, and that's going to just tax every muscle in your frontal forearm. And doing it once, twice a week to failure, your grip just going to improve by leaps and bounds. Another one of the more unorthodox exercises I do is hip thrusts with a heavy stone. You just got to be very careful when you do it, and so you don't push anything, roll on your head. It can be pretty dangerous if you do it wrong. But boy, do these thrusts work your glutes, your hamstrings, and I've just watched strength and ability in those areas skyrocket after incorporating this heavy exercise after a few weeks, a couple months. You definitely feel worked over, like you did something when you do a heavy set of these. I call them hip thrusts. It might be, I forget the hip bridges or glute bridges, I think, something to that fact that they're called. But yeah, also very helpful for, if you're in mixed martial arts or anything, just being able to move something on top of you, get it off of you. Yeah, it's a great posterior chain exercise.